Good morning. Welcome to the Bond Sunday morning services. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. You can get involved by calling 800-411-2663, 800-411-BOND. You can also email us, church@bondinfo.org, church@bondinfo.org, and put your name in town on your emails. You can call in at any point during this hour. And welcome, good morning to everybody here.
Good morning.
I appreciate you guys showing up. I'm always wondering, will one person show up today? But thank you for showing up. I have some good questions for you today. But I know you guys have questions for me first. And I'm thinking all week, I gotta show up tomorrow because I know they have some spiritual questions about life for me. They're not the kind of congregation that comes and just let the preacher preach to them and go home after saying amen for an hour. So I can't wait to hear from you first. And then I have some things that I've been considering this week. Yes, sir.
What's more important, Jesus' life or Jesus' death?
That's a very good question. Very good question. I'm going to let a holy person answer it first, and then I answer it. James want to reply.
I would guess that his life is more important.
His life more important?
Yeah.
And why you say his life is more important?
Well, the Bible wrote more about his life than his death.
Oh, okay. That's a good point, James.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you came over there, man. Very good point. I would have thought of it that way. It would have had to take an intellectual to think of it that way. Very good point. Interesting point, though. What would you say about that? Yes, ma'am. Don't be digging in your purse.
I would say it's death.
His death. And why would you say his death?
Because the purpose for his death was for salvation, and so his death and resurrection. But
Okay.
his death because he bore our sins with his death.
Oh, very interesting. Another point. See, I told you, this is why I was looking forward to getting here today. Robert, what would you say?
I'd say both.
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Why both?
Well, it was important for him to be on the
Well,
plane.
he wanted to know which one was most important. And are you saying they were both the same?
Well, the people that were in this time zone, for him to come at that time, they didn't think about him being dying.
Right.
So I think the life for him existing for the 3 years that he was very important.
You got to take your hand away from your mouth and speak up because the mic's up to here.
So-
And so you think they're equal to the
Yeah.
same? The same. Oh, okay. All right. If you twist my arm and make me say which one is most, I think the death. And the reason for that because when he died, he bought us back from the devil. Because Satan had total ownership of us for the most part, and because of sin. And so when he died, he sacrificed, meaning that the devil took him in, and the devil didn't deserve to have him because he had not sinned, but it was a way of him buying us back. And so I think the death and the resurrection was the most important. The living example was good too because he was, he showed us that if you love what's right, you do what's right, and you have faith in God, then there's nothing on earth that can stop you. And this is how you do it, So it was real important, but the death, because had not he died for us, we wouldn't be able to do what he did while living. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a living example?
Living example of him?
Uh-huh.
Not directly.
Or indirectly?
Not completely. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. The one thing, and I'll get into it a little more later, and write it on, piggyback on what he said. What I've come to realize, being a living example of him is the easiest thing to do in life. Did you guys know that? Yeah, it is. You guys are missing it. If you have not, and I do understand, so don't look crazy at me. It is so easy to live the life of Christ. He's so made it so easy. And there's not but one thing that's holding people back. And in a minute, I'll tell you what that is. Not but one little simple thing that's holding you back. Isn't that amazing? And I'm a witness to this. I'm not making this stuff up. Had not it happened to me, I wouldn't know that it can exist. I was thinking, coming home last night from New York, that, wow, life is great. But it's nothing like what, last Sunday or the Sunday before I read in the Bible that I read to you guys that God, he said that his mind is not our mind, his thoughts are not our thoughts. They're as far away as the east is from the west and the north from the south. It's nothing like what I thought life could be or was or is. Nothing like, I can't even imagine the way life is. You really have to see it. You have to live it. Everything you think it is wrong. You can't even think what it is and be right about it. Isn't that amazing? That is so amazing to me. Yes, sir.
Do you realize that every once in a while during your preaching you say just completely astounding things?
Like what?
Like, it's easy to be the example of Christ?
Yes.
You must be one of only, I don't know, maybe you are the only one, or a handful, less than a handful of men I've ever heard say, Christian men, preachers say that living the life of Christ, living his example is easy.
It really is. And when I hear preachers say that, oh, it's rough, it's hard, it's difficult, it just tells me right away they don't know him. Because even in the Bible, he says that his way is easy, his burdens are light. Isn't that in the Bible?
It is.
And he tells you not to worry about anything. I'll take care of you. Here's what I want you to think about. That's all he really asks of us, that we think on these things, and while we're doing that, life is working out. Isn't that amazing? So when someone says, oh, it is so hard as a Christian, they are not a Christian. Well, maybe in namesake only. Because they are making God, or they're turning Christ into a liar. Christ said it's easy, but the preacher says that it's hard. There's something wrong with that, don't you think?
Yeah.
That's why I want you guys not to fall for the lie. Once you fall for a lie, you're locked in. You're absolutely locked in the moment you fall for a lie. Yes, sir?
Paul himself actually reinforces your argument. I mean, when he was beaten and thrown in prison, they were singing hymns and psalms and having a good time.
Yeah.
In prison. No, those weren't nice prisons. Not like today when we build them in California, but
Yeah. They didn't have color TVs and weight rooms.
right, and basketball.
Basketball
shower.
tournaments and all that kind of stuff. You're right about it. I'm telling you, people, and the thing about it, it is right at hand. It's not like, it's not far off in a distant land somewhere. It's right at hand. It's right here, right now, right here, right now. This life I'm talking about. Yes, ma'am.
What are the few things we're supposed to think on?
That's a good question. Have you ever asked your husband that?
I mean, I heard it before, but I just...
You didn't remember? Well, that tells me you have not been thinking on them. What are the things we're supposed to be thinking on? I wonder if I ask your husband, let's say you say, honey, I woke up this morning thinking, you know what, let me tell you this. After I did Sean's show the other night, I had a dream that someone had thrown a dead dog in my front yard. I looked out the window, and it was so real. My car was sitting in the driveway, and I saw a dead German Shepherd laying on his back. He'd been shot in the chest in my front yard. Don't do that.
Oh.
No dead dogs on my yard, all right? If you say to your husband, honey, what are the things that God wants us to think on? What do you think he would say? Because a wife should be able to go to her husband for this. What do you think he would say? Go find out? I don't know. You think he would? Oh, that's good. That's a good report. And what would you say if she asked you that one morning?
I believe the things of God, the things that are important, like how we deal with life, the pride that comes up in us when people challenge us.
Yeah.
That is like right on the point of life, because when you're challenged and your pride comes up, that's everything. And when your pride starts to dissipate, your life begins to open up.
Yeah.
That's what really changes life. That's what's changing life for me. Every time I have an incident where I have to have that's what's so great about external incidents in the world, because they bring out what's inside of you. Every time I have an incident like that where my pride comes up and it takes a hit, my pride dies a little, I feel more alive.
Yeah.
So I think those are the things that are really key about life.
He wants you to think on things that are good, that are righteous, that are holy, and that is part of it. Loving your neighbor as yourself, being aware of the not you that's made a home within you so you can overcome it. Being fair and honest and straight up with people, but getting to know yourself. Seek first the kingdom of God and His right way, and it'll all be added. If that can be the focus, I'm telling you, life would change just like that. But for some reason, I know what it is. Most people have not suffered enough. They have not had, and some people are real stubborn. They have to really, really suffer before their focus can become that. And I just think most people have not suffered enough. They have not had enough ego pain yet in order to focus on things that are righteous. I think that's what it is. You have to realize that nature of the devil that's made a home in you is a stubborn nature. Have you noticed that? It wants things its way, and that's it. And if you fight against that, you're going to lose. You're going to end up giving into it. And so I think that's what it is. A lot of people just have not suffered enough.
How you not fight against it?
You by just watching it and taking the pain of it. That's all you do. You cannot put yourself into it at all. You just have to feel the pain of it, of that's trying to make you do what you shouldn't be doing, or hate your enemy, or whatever it is. If you don't fight against it at all, then God, the light within, will overtake it, and you could be free. But 99.999.9% of people fight against it. A lot of you right here, right now, saying, "Yeah, that's right, that's right," and somebody can say one bad thing to you, and you forget what we just said, and you cuss them out just like that. I was talking to a couple. It was so interesting on the phone. And the woman's like, "Oh, I really am an angry person. I don't want to be that way." And I said, "Well, next time you and your boyfriend, because they're not married, they live in, have an argument, don't argue with him." "Okay, I won't." And he walks in and he said one word and she went off. I said, "I just told you don't argue." But she went off, and she wouldn't stop. It's like they forget right away, I need to take this pain. Isn't that amazing? Because the heart is not set on righteousness. It's not set there. It's not locked in. With me, growing up, I was suffering, and I knew I was suffering, and I knew something was wrong with it. I just have kind of always known. I don't know, maybe for this reason, but I've always known that I couldn't change my life, and I wanted to get better. I read in the Bible that it should be better, but I didn't know how to change it. And there was no one around to tell me, "Hey, don't try to change it. Just watch it. You pray and let God do the rest." But just watch it, and it'll change by itself. But it makes you want to go off on people so it can get life from that. Every time you overreact to life challenges or situations, you're giving power to the devil that's made a home inside of you. Every little time you overreact to anything. Isn't that amazing?
My problem is like if somebody accuses me and I know I didn't do it, I can't help but try to defend myself.
You can't help but do what?
Try to defend myself.
Right. Don't defend yourself. You can say, "You know what, that's wrong, I didn't do it," but just don't hate them for saying these things about you. And you have to endure those things because Christ went through them too. And he endured everything that we have to go through. And he was an example of how to deal with it. Don't get mad about someone falsely accusing you. And that doesn't mean you don't speak up for yourself and try to show, "Well, I didn't do it. Why do you accuse me?" But don't hate them. That's where the problem is. If you can learn not to hate, then you can deal with anything. Because as long as you walk this earth, somebody's going to falsely accuse you. It's just the way it is. because of spiritual battle between good and evil. But because Christ died and brought things back, put things in order for us, we can handle that. Especially if you don't have an ego. And that ego is not your ego, it's the devil that's made a home inside of you. That make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So when that happens, you find yourself getting angry about it, it's all ego. You know, you don't want people to see you in a negative way. You want to think of yourself as wonderful, and now this person out there making you look bad. It's all ego. Does that make sense?
It's not like I want to look all wonderful, I just don't want to think I'm a liar or whatever.
But the reason you don't want them to think you're a liar because you want to look wonderful. Because if not, you wouldn't get mad about it. You know what I mean? People say some of the worst things that you could possibly say to me and about me and write about it, but I feel nothing about it. It's funny to me. Now, when I had the pride thing going on, I would have been hurt, you know, just really angry about it. But I know it's wrong. If somebody asks me, hey, that's not true. But I know that they can't help themselves. They're of their father, the devil. It's not personal. And that's what's going to happen to you, too. So the moment you get mad about it, it is ego. And it is wanting to look good. That's why you're getting angry. I bet you if someone says something nice about you and it wasn't true, you would get mad about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's not necessarily, I was just thinking, I don't think I'd get mad about it, but I'd just try to like tell them like, no, it's not that way.
And so if they said something nice, would you say, no, I'm not nice?
If they said I did something nice and I didn't do it, I'll say I didn't do it.
You may do that, though. I know you well enough to know that that's true. But when you get mad, it's all ego. It really is. Otherwise, you would treat the nice things and the negative things in the same manner. Let them roll off your back. It's the same way. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would let it roll off your back. But you're right. You're the kind of woman that if someone says something nice, you're like, no, I'm not that nice, but understand, I know you well enough to know that. But it's all ego when you feel this stuff on the inside. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next time your husband rolls his eyes, no more candy yams for him. I saw another hand somewhere. Yes, sir.
I was just going to make a comment. Why we react, why we all say, oh, it just takes that and I set myself, I'm angry or whatever, is because we're still in that another state of mind.
When you say we, are you referring to yourself?
Well, I don't do it that much anymore, but I can say it because from experience.
Right.
But
do you still do it?
Very rarely, hardly.
Do you still do it, though?
I would say,
Here's where I get in trouble. Do you still do it?
no.
You don't do it at all? You say it very rarely, man.
Well, let me say, when you do the prayer exercise long enough and you do it correctly, when you come out like you're in a different state of mind, and then your problems seem further away from you. You're not right there. They're not right on you. It bothers you less if you're still long enough.
But do you sometimes overreact to challenges or situations?
Well, I will say this, Jesse, to be quite frank with you, I could see it barely coming up, and then I catch it right away, and it doesn't get in me. It doesn't get under my skin. I can see how someone trying to crack me,
Yeah.
They keep saying things, offend me, then I just see it, and then it doesn't penetrate. So it's out here.
Right.
You see. So no, I just had
Okay.
an incident last night, and it didn't happen. Someone tried to get me, and it didn't.
Good, man.
Yeah.
You had your hand.
It's been answered.
It's been answered? What was your question? You remember, but it was answered? What is the one thing, there's one thing, and I want you to think about this and then I'll take this hand. There's one thing that can prevent you from ever overreacting to life's challenges. There's one thing only. There's only one thing. And let me take this hand, and then while you guys go through your mind trying to figure that one out, because I see busy minds right now. I can feel the energy moving across and thinking about this. And I'm coming to you first on this, so put some stress on you right now. Yes, sir.
I realize when I get angry, I'm being a hypocrite because I'm not allowing the other person to be egotistical when I'm being egotistical.
That's a good
No,
point.
I don't
All
want them
angry
to
people
be.
are hypocrites.
And I don't want them to be into themselves when I'm all into myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good point. Did you know that all angry people are hypocrites?
No.
You didn't know that? Does it make sense that all angry people are hypocrites?
No, that really doesn't make.
I can't hear you.
All angry people are hypocrites.
You talking so low, I can't hear you.
No, because I'm thinking.
Oh, I see.
all
Oh, you're
angry
thinking out
people are
loud.
Hypocrites.
Yeah, all angry people are hypocrites. Ooh, we having church today, huh? And by the way, you can call in at 800-411-BOND, 800-411-BOND, or email church@bondinfo.org. And somebody will answer the phone and the emails.
All angry people are hypocrites.
Yes. You can take your time. We only have.
I'm asking you.
Wait a minute. Oh, you're asking me?
I said,
I asked the question.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, we'll get to you in a minute. So are you saying no or yes? You say you didn't know that all angry people are hypocrites?
yeah.
Are you an angry person?
Yeah.
I'm sorry? Are you a hypocrite?
No.
You're not a hypocrite. Wow. First angry person I met that's not a hypocrite. And you say you disagree with that.
I disagree.
Why?
The way I understand a hypocrite is a person that says says or preaches you should act a certain way or be a certain way, yet they don't do it themselves.
Oh, that's a hypocrite.
Isn't
And
that what-
everybody agree with that, right? Yeah, everybody. You said that before. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I understand it.
Oh, right on. And everybody agree with that, right? Yeah, you agree, Fabian?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you agree that all angry people are hypocrites?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a safe zone. I love that. Okay. Boy, what do you think about this? Oh, I'm sorry.
So I didn't get to finish though. See, but some
I didn't get to
people,
finish.
some people aren't pretending or even wanting to be right. They're just wicked. They're angry. They like being angry, and you understand what I'm saying? They're not pretending. They're not hypocrites in that they don't preach or say you should be this way. They're just no damn good, and they don't care. They're not.
Isn't that amazing? This is an amazing story to me.
No, they're honest about their wickedness. They're not hypocrites, if you
Right.
know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
so I don't agree that all angry people are hypocrites. Some
So an honest hypocrite is not a hypocrite.
well, if you understand the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I do understand the point you're trying to make. That an honest hypocrite is not a hypocrite.
No, they're not. It's not. If someone is not advocating being good, or that you should be good, is just wicked, they're not a hypocrite. They're just wicked.
Amazing. I like that though. Thank you for that. And a lot of people agree, even in this room. A lot of people agree with that, right?
Tell me where you think I'm wrong.
I'm sorry?
If I'm wrong, tell me where you think I'm wrong.
Am I acting like I think that you're wrong?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
All right. Let me ask this holy woman right here. She's like, yeah, that's true. I was thinking the same thing.
Before, you know, what he said, I heard before, but what Martin said makes a lot of sense, so I agree on that.
Let me ask you this. Are you a Christian?
I want to be.
Uh-oh.
I really want to be. I'm working on it every day.
But are you now, though?
No,
You're not a Christian?
no,
Really? I'm surprised to hear that from you, Isaac.
but hey,
But I appreciate you being honest with yourself. And so, do you agree or disagree that all angry people are hypocrites?
well, I never heard it before, but it makes sense, what he said, and I always say, the truth, I can see the truth. I can see the truth, so I saw the truth in what you were saying.
Oh,
So I
okay.
can accept it.
All right, so you don't agree with what that young man said then?
Well, I kind of.
You agree with him too?
Both sides, because that's
So
the
you
way-
riding two
wait,
horses up in
no,
here?
No, that's the way I learned. I grew up on what he said.
Oh, okay.
But
That makes sense what you just said.
Okay.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Leave me alone, I kept going to somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
But doesn't it require a bit of judgment either way? You know, if you're judging, then somebody else, like in other words, if I say something mean and the other person gets angry, I'm being hypocritical, and the judger is hypocritical too.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's,
That's why I say that all angry people are hypocrites. Because when you judge your fellow man, it's because you're guilty too. And angry people live off judgment. They're playing God. Whenever you get mad at your fellow man, whenever you judge your fellow man, it's like what he said. You should be mad at what somebody else is doing or not doing, or how they act or don't act, what they say and what they don't say. You don't have a right to do that. You're a sinner too. That's why you're getting angry. So all angry people are hypocrites because they judge their. Why you think God said, don't judge? Well, take the stone out of your own eye before you judge somebody else. And it doesn't matter the degree that it is. Even if you are a hypocrite who knows that you're a hypocrite, that doesn't make you right. You're still an angry, judgmental, going to hell, live in hell hypocrite. And I know that definition came from the dictionary about, at least I know I'm a hypocrite. That doesn't make you any better than the one you're judging. That's not going to give you freedom. That's not going to send you to heaven just because you know you're an angry hypocrite. Does that make sense? God doesn't want us to think about things in the way that the world has defined things. We have to see things as a spiritual term because we are a spirit. And life is about spirituality, a warfare between good and evil. You said no, you don't even agree with that?
No,
And why not?
because I still feel the same way he explained it.
Right. And so you think that it's fair to get mad at to judge your fellow man to a point of anger?
I don't think it's fair.
Is it right?
No, it's not right.
And why isn't it right?
I can't really explain.
Speak up a little
I
louder.
can't really explain why it's not right. I
But
just
that-
know it's not right. I mean, not to judge somebody how they act. I mean, I can't really explain it. I just know it's not right.
Is it possible that it's not right because the reason you're judging them is because your life is not in order too?
No, because when I'm judging somebody, I don't even. Oh, that could turn another way. I can see you asking me something else.
You can see
I'm
what?
not even thinking about that. I'm just.
You're not thinking about what? That you're.
That my life is not in order.
What? Right, because judgmental
Right.
people are not going to
I
think.
seen it coming.
Judgmental folks are not going to think about their life. They're focused on someone else's life.
But
That's
no,
the
but
whole
I
point
have-
of being angry and judging.
But I have judged somebody
Yeah.
for the same thing I did, and I have turned around and said, well, I do that too.
Yeah.
You know, I admitted it to somebody actually last night.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone, but I always seen a hypocrite as someone who says one thing and does another.
No, I mean, that is a form of a hypocrite in a worldly way and stuff like that. But the real hypocrite is the one that judges their fellow man. Not, you know what I'm saying? Because you have no right to judge anyone. You're not God. And the only reason you're judging because you think that you are. It tends to put yourself in a better light than the person that you're judging. You feel okay about your stuff because this person's a little worse than you. You know what I'm saying? You're playing God. You're totally playing God. Keeping yourself in a false light. Otherwise, why would you judge somebody else? Why would you be mad at someone else for what they do or don't do?
No, maybe sometimes I'm judging somebody because it's affecting me or it's towards me.
And then
It's somebody pointing a finger at me, and I'm like, who the hell are you?
Right.
To tell me anything when you're not right.
But if you were if you were right, if you were a righteous person, you wouldn't feel that pain of them pointing toward you. The only reason you're feeling that anger and pain because you are wrong and you resent them pointing it out.
No, that's not necessarily.
But why do you
because
get
I-
mad? If
because
they're not
I-
telling the truth about you, why you get mad?
No, because sometimes it's not true.
But then why you get mad about that? If it's not true, you shouldn't even bother about that.
Because it's not true. I feel like the same way Stephanie felt. You know, it was a situation that happened too, not too long ago. For somebody to point the finger at you when, like saying you did something.
Oh, well, here's my
really
question then. So you don't like when the finger's pointed at you, right?
Not when it's wrong,
So then why do you point the finger at your fellow man?
because it's right. I'm right.
That is the judgment. Yes, sir.
That's the
No.
hypocrisy in it too.
Yes.
We feel that we're better
Yeah.
because this person does this or you think is a little less than you.
Yeah.
And you point the finger back at him. Maybe it's not exactly saying like, this guy did this, but your anger makes you feel better than him or her, and you point the finger back down at them.
But
That's
I
the
really don't.
hypocrisy.
I really don't be feeling that at the time, like I'm better than them.
But
That's
you
what all
just,
anger
what it
is.
is though, you don't recognize that that's what you're feeling. Because you have to think you're better in order to be mad at them for being less or worse or whatever they are. You feel like, I would never do that. Oh, I can't
have said that.
Yeah, you see what I mean? How can she do something like that?
Oh, but that-
when that is so wrong. But then the other person may not, probably wouldn't do what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it made your stuff seem a little bit better because you would never be a hypocrite that way, but you'll be a hypocrite this way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I can't hear you.
I said, okay.
No, don't agree if you don't agree. I don't want to press you into agreement. I want you to be able to see what we're talking about.
I don't fully see it.
Oh, okay. Well, keep on living. Keep on living and keep on seeking. But I understand, I'm glad you admitted that you don't see it instead of faking it. But I want you to watch yourself, notice yourself, keep your eyes on yourself and you'll see what's going on. You really will. I like that honest answer. You don't really see it. Yes, sir.
I guarantee you that she feels superior to other people because she feels more honest than them, looks at people and thinks of them as being hypocrites because they act a certain way and don't really admit to it.
Yeah.
Whereas she won't act like that and say, well, I won't do that, so I'm above them.
Okay, you know what? That's true.
Yeah.
Because I try to be a very honest person. When I see somebody not being honest and I can see what they're doing, I do judge them for it.
Yes.
Especially the place where I'm at, they all supposed to be Christians. And
Some of
yeah,
them.
I do.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And I'm very honest. And when I see somebody not being honest and they trying to go around it, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
And
That's,
some of the worst judgmental folks are Christian folks.
now you see why I no.
So what now?
Now you see why I judge them. Well,
Yeah.
they are all supposed to be Christians.
Yeah. But then you're
But I
supposed
know
to be
I'm wrong. I know.
right. That's why I'm using you as an example though, because you believe me, you're not the only. And you're supposed to be a Christian, yet you're judging the Christians.
No, I'm not a Christian.
Oh, so you're a sinner.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing the right thing then. That's what you're doing. You're on the right track. You're doing your job. But Christians judge each other. Look at that person drinking wine, but yet they drink vodka and orange juice all day. I don't drink wine. Just judging. Look at that person getting angry, and yet they get angry. Christians judge each other worse than the sinner. Isn't that true? If you want to know what real judgment is, hang out with the Christians. Man. Yes.
For Sonia, that's the hypocrisy too. You said you're a real honest person, and in honesty, you're supposed to be, you're portraying yourself a certain way.
That's a very good
And
point.
then this person who's supposed to be a Christian, maybe it's a little more obvious that they're hypocritical, but in your honesty, when you get mad at them, when I get mad at somebody and I'm supposed to be this person who can see, in my honesty, and then I get mad at them, that's the hypocritical part of it. I'm supposed to be, in my mind, I think I can see some things, and I see people doing things that I don't think are right, and my anger is the hypocritical part of it. Me getting angry at this person is the hypocritical part.
As a matter of fact, now that both of you brought up this honest thing, well, I could be straight up honest with somebody else because I'm an honest person. That is not an honest person. That is the most dishonest, worst person you don't want to meet. Because they can be honest with you about your stuff, but not honest with themselves about themselves, and they're angry about it. They're mad at you for being wrong. That's not honesty. Honesty is when you can be honest without judging, without feeling anything about it. Everybody, all angry people point out other folks' stuff and tell you about it and go off on you and call it honesty. All of them do that, but they're judging. That makes sense? Yes, ma'am. You were shaking your head on that.
No, because I see the things in myself, and when people point it out to me, if I know it's right, like you told me some things, I say, yeah, that is true about me. He said something, I say, yeah, that's true about me. So how can me being honest with somebody else, you can ask anybody who told me something, I usually agree with
Right.
them.
Your dishonesty is when you get angry at them for what they are.
Yeah,
For what you're trying to portray.
okay.
That's not honesty. Now, in a worldly sense, that's honesty, that's of the devil. But in God's eye, that's not honesty. God can care less about you pointing out other folks' problems and you hating them for it. He has nothing to do with you. Because everybody sees the wrong in somebody else. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Now I don't go around just saying, you do this.
Well, no, don't let the devil say you that. The devil got you saying,
No,
the devil
but I
said
don't
they
want
think
you
you're
to
doing
think
it.
I'm just going around like
I'm
that.
not thinking that at all.
Okay.
The devil just told you, they think that you're doing that to everybody now. And now you need to clear it up. No, don't let that happen. Not at all. Wow, yes, sir.
But calling yourself honest is the platform in which you raise yourself in order
Yes.
to judge.
Yeah, I'm a little more honest than the next person. That's still a judgment, a decision-making thing. Well, at least I'm not as dishonest as this person is, you know? I'm honest about your life, and I'm honest that I'm wrong, when it's all hell.
It's
All hell.
either one, you wrong or
Yeah.
you right.
When you can do it without hating your fellow man, you're on track, man. And the only way you're going to do that, you got to get over yourself. And I'm telling you the truth about that. That makes sense? Because just like you can't help yourself, your fellow man can't help themselves either. Or himself. Your fellow man cannot help himself. That makes sense? No? You think that they can help themselves?
No, that part makes sense. I'm
Okay.
thinking about
Right, and my point is that if you truly understand that about yourself, it will cause you to understand that about your fellow man, then you wouldn't be mad at them, you wouldn't judge them. That doesn't mean you wouldn't speak up and deal with it, you just wouldn't feel anything about it, because you would be able to see that they can't help it. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I asked this, you had your hand?
I did.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say, you made me realize that when you speak the truth to somebody with anger, that spirit of anger does not allow the person you're speaking that truth to repent.
That's right.
It actually shuts them down and makes them either give in to the pressure of your anger.
Yes, it does.
They'll do a false repentance that way, or you know, or it makes them strong against what you're saying.
Yes, sir. It doesn't give life, it gives death. Bless you. Yes, sir.
So, being a Christian, you've made me ask that question to myself. Am I a Christian?
Yes. Good.
Because I have all these problems that you say.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to sit there and say that I don't get angry, because I do. I'm not going to say that I don't lie, or just I do.
Although
When I look at it, when I see someone else is doing wrong, I immediately start looking at myself. Now, so I did that. Should I call myself a Christian if I'm not? I don't know if God is hearing me or not. You know, we're in an electronic age now. You know, You can make Jesus look like anything you want.
Right.
He's been dead 2,000 years.
Yeah, that is so true.
And it's getting to the point now, he's gonna, forgive me, Jesus, put up, or shut up. Because right now, in this day and time, it is very hard to try to get my daughter, where she just got married, and she's been living with this guy for so years, so how can I tell her not to do that when I did it? How do I explain that to them, that Jesus doesn't want you to do that? It's more like my walk is gonna have to show them than my talk, because
You live with your daughter's mother before marrying her?
about 6 months.
6 months before marrying? Just say, you know what, daughter, I did this. I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I suffered the consequences of it because it went against everything that's right. It went against the order. And what you should have tried to do, and what you should have done was set a good example for the rest. Once you realize you were wrong, you did it the right way, you set that example, then she wouldn't do it.
Right.
But if she does, then you just say, hey, here's what's going to happen to you, but don't hate her for it, don't try to make her do it, and let her learn the hard way if she refuses to listen to the order.
Mm-hmm.
But don't judge her for it.
Right.
And that's all you have to do. You can't make anyone change.
I see that. I see, and I try to tell my wife that she's a judgmental Christian, and well, she shouldn't be doing this and that. But you know what? When she got married last Wednesday, I was the happiest father on the planet.
Yeah, right.
I didn't care about all that anymore.
It's over.
She made it right.
That's right.
So don't look at it like that.
Yes, that's right.
Okay?
Just let it go. I mean, she's done it the right way. You wish her well again.
Right.
Hope that it works out for her. That's all you really can do. Because if you get angry at her, you're going to drive her deeper into it.
So why
As
do
he
we,
said,
why do we call ourselves Christian if we're not?
That's a very good question. Why do we call ourselves Christians when we're not? Very, very good question. And the young man behind you want to answer that.
You mean that I don't have any answer for that.
You don't have an answer, okay? What do you say to that?
What do I say to that?
No, what do you say to that?
I really don't know about that.
You really don't know that, okay? What do you say to that? Why do we call ourselves Christians if we're not Christians?
Probably because to us Christians it's just another crutch to stand up on, where it's supposed to be the core foundation of our lives. It seems like we're always searching for something to prop up our ego instead of something to free ourselves from it. And
Christine, what do you say to that? Why do we call ourselves Christians if we're not Christians?
Well, for me, I believe in Jesus Christ, but I'm not living in his example. And, you know, he's given us this way to live, and I just haven't been able to do it yet.
Okay. Stephanie, why do we call ourselves Christians if we're not Christians? You want to know that. Why is he called? Do you think you are one or you're not?
I can't answer that question just because.
You used to did you think you were one beforehand?
Yeah, you know, everybody's saying I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus, but we don't walk. We don't do.
That's a very good question. Very good question.
We don't represent him the way. I don't see that in Christians.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the little bitty. We help the poor, feed, you know, but the person themselves being a Christian,
yeah,
like you say, you rub them the wrong way. You know, in this day and age, in 2010.
It's bad.
It's real tough.
I'm scared of Christians in 2010.
Everybody's calling themselves Christians.
All my friends are sinners. Yes, Stephanie.
The reason I say I'm a Christian, sometimes when somebody asks me, if you guys ask me, I'll say no. But if somebody, like a stranger or something, asks me if I'm a Christian, I probably say yes, because I don't want him to think I don't believe in God. I think if I say no, that means I don't believe in God and the whole God thing.
Right. The whole God thing. Yeah. And that's what's wrong with most people. They are afraid to say, no, I don't believe in God, because they don't want to be perceived as not believing in God. And they don't want to even think to themselves, I really don't believe in God.
It's kind of scary to think that way.
And that's the one thing that's holding you back.
Yeah.
That is the primary. Because if you can't admit that you don't believe in him, you're never going to believe. If you can't doubt this lie that you're holding on to, you're never going to believe into the truth. You got to doubt the lie so you can believe into the truth. But the people hang on to lies. And that's what's holding them back. You got to doubt. Adam believed the lie and we lost it. So we got to doubt the lie so that we can believe again. it's just reversed. And that's why they won't do it. Because like the ego said, what are you going to do with yourself if you don't believe in God? What kind of person are you if you admit you don't believe in God? You better admit you don't believe in Him if you want to believe in Him. Yes, sir.
No, that's right. That's fine.
And the reason that, he just gave me the sign in 10 minutes. You had your hand. No, go ahead. I want to ask you a question.
No, the question was, believe what lie?
That you don't believe in God.
But what if you do believe in God?
Then you don't have to believe the lie. You don't have to admit that something that you don't believe.
Hmm?
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
I can't. Ooh, that's a soft yeah.
Yes, I believe in God.
And so if you believe, then you would know you believe. So you don't have to admit something that you know to be true, all right? But most people, and I'm about to answer the question, what was your question about why do we say we believe in God? Most people say that 80%, 80% of people say that they believe in God because they've been taught to believe in Him, to say that. And if you don't say that, you're damned to hell. So you've been taught, you've been brainwashed, you've been had. And now, in a lot of cases, people meant well, but that's all they knew. But I'm here to tell you that I asked earlier, what is that one thing what was that question? And I said, I'm coming to you first about it. I said, there was one thing that we needed to do. I forgot the question.
No, something you said, one thing.
By God's words.
I'm sorry?
One thing you need to follow God or something, or live by God's word.
I can't get you with the question now. 'Cause you remember the question, right?
No.
And you were hoping that I would forget, huh? Yes.
But I want to mention something to you, but if you're saying that you're a Christian, and if you're really not, I think it's because you're just like pretending to be, because you just want to like hide behind the notion.
Are you a Christian?
That I don't know.
You don't know.
I just rather.
That means no then.
That's really, I just.
Come on, slide back up in that chair.
I don't want to answer that.
Let me just
answer that question honestly, because, I mean, it's important to me to know if I am or not, because I really do want to see Jesus in the end, okay? I don't want to be up there faking it.
There you go.
Okay.
Let me give you the evidence of knowing that you believe in God. The first evidence of knowing that you believe in God for sure and without a doubt is that you have perfect love. And perfect love does not judge. It does not hate himself or herself and their fellow man. Perfect love is straight up honesty without the judgment, because you want them to know. You want them to find what you have. And then the second, there are three evidences. There may be more, but definitely ones that you can understand, comprehend. One is perfect love. When you have perfect love, you have no anger at all. None. Zero. It's gone. And the reason you have no anger because you have no judgment inside of you. Because judgment is the nature of the devil, and God and the devil cannot dwell in the same place. So once you really come into him, he gives you perfect love and the devil is gone. So you're not operating from that nature. The other thing is that you can see. And seeing is more than just seeing what you feel or think, but it is seeing the reality of what's happening to you, around you in life, in a way that you've never seen before, in a way that prevents you from judging your fellow man, but yet understanding what's going on. And the other thing is you deal with life in a way that you've never dealt with it before. It's like there are things going on the outside of you now and not on the inside, and you're not affected by it at all. So you have perfect love, the ability to see, and the ability to overcome life rather than life overtaking you. That means relationships, work, enemies, friends, food, whatever it is. It's out here happening and no longer happening on the inside. And you start living, it's like something changed about you, really changed. I'm not talking about you go from alcohol to drugs, or you go from one bad woman to another bad woman or a man to, I'm talking about you start living from within. You literally start living from within and not without. I was thinking about, on my trip this weekend, I was thinking, and I wanted to make these points real fast. I won't be able to really get into them now because of time. I was thinking about Black Americans. And the reason I was thinking about Black Americans is because I remember when we were growing up, we were always, we were taught to plant seeds so that we could get something back. Whether it's how you treated your fellow man or working and all that, right? And for the last 50 years, not all, but most Black Americans have not planted any seeds. And that's why they need the government so much, because they literally have nothing coming back. And if you don't put out something, you're not gonna get anything back. Amen. That makes sense? Yeah. It's set up that way. And so that's why you have 90-something% of them totally relying on government for education, for housing, for employment, for whatever, because if you really look, they have not planted any seeds at all. And that's a sad commentary when you think about that. There are always resources around us for us to live by, to live off of, to get back. But they can't see that anymore. We saw that when I was growing up. We took care of ourselves. We planted seeds. We treated each other right. We treated our fellow man right. It doesn't matter if you're white or black. And we always receive something back. But they are absolutely not getting anything back now. That's why they're in favor of all this junk, socialized health care, because now there are going to be free clinics everywhere. That's not going to do you any good. The government, it's like, I absolutely know young men who are living at home with mama because while they were growing up, mama didn't teach them how to plant any seeds. And so now they are adults. There's nothing in them that can cause them to go out and earn a living and live a life and deal with life because nothing was planted while growing up. Isn't that pretty sad when you think about that? And see, people don't understand this is a spiritual thing that we're dealing with. It's not just physical, it's spiritual. And believe me, there are people out there waiting to take over your life. There are people of the devil who are waiting to live off other people. The government is waiting to live off you. The government is a lie. And as far as I know, and I'm not good in history, but I've never known when the government was our friend. I've never read in the Bible where God said, rely on the government and it shall provide your every need. God said if you rely on truth, if you work, you treat people right, I'll provide your every need. But now there's this mentality of government providing your every need. Another thing I realized on this trip too, 20 years ago, I met some people who are very intellectually smart people. They have degrees up the yang-yang. Most people don't know where the yang-yang is, right? I mentioned it in my next book. And I used to belong to some of the organizations with these people. And the devil would try to tempt me, because what I notice in the world, there's this pull to really know, you got to know everybody. If somebody's in the limelight, the mission is you got to know that person. You got to connect with that person. Have you noticed that? Yeah. And then they put that person in like a God-like position, because for some reason they think that if they get to know this person, then somehow or another it's going to benefit their lives. You ever seen that happen? Yes. But when I was 20 years ago, there was nothing in me, and I have witnesses for this. I'm not making this up. There was nothing in me that would make me want to connect with this person so I could get something from that person. As a matter of fact, I had it so bad that as years went on, and Patrick and Ernest and Guy can tell you, they had to force me to ask people to donate to us. Isn't that true, Patrick? I didn't want to do it. There was nothing in me because I saw the hypocrisy of what was going on and what it did to the people that you put on this pedestal just because they're on TV or they this and you think that somehow or another if I connect with them. It was so bad, but I couldn't do it. And this weekend I saw some of those people that I thought would be like, you would think, wow, those people would be great today. And I'm like, well, what's going on with your life? I've been catching hell in my life. I don't have a job, I have this, I'm broke, I've been sued, I've been this. They're 20 years later, they're miserable in life. I mean, just don't even have the same friends that they tried to hook up with. And they're miserable. And I'm thinking, thank you, God, for prevented me from getting on that kind of track. Because my life got better over the years because of the God that I serve and he allows me to see, rather than hooking up with people thinking somehow or another they're going to make me wonderful. That makes sense? People can't make you wonderful. And people will let you down. All you have to do is say one wrong thing, it's over. It is. I seen it happen in this meeting. I challenge you in this meeting, most people won't come back. It's not about that. God is greater than anybody or anything or anyhow or anywho or anywhere. Believe me, he created all things, and when you come into him, when you love him, he will survive. He will provide for you. You don't have to act like the world act about. I met a guy this weekend. This guy has every degree. He happened to be black, but he has every degree that you can possibly get. There are no more out there. And when I first met him 20 years ago, he was real popular. I mean, he speaks just like a white man. Ain't no black left. I mean, this man is so proper. He is so white. So I'm like, he came over to me and said, how you doing, Jesse? I said, oh man, all is well. And I said, well, how are you doing, man? How you been? I haven't seen you the last, 10 or 15 years. Life is rough. I'm like, well, what are you doing now? Because this particular guy was really, he worked for the government. He had a major role in the government, real popular black guy. I mean, I have no job. I'm trying to make a comeback now. I can do this. I said, what can you do? I can do this and I can do that. Really had life just fell apart. I know so many people that has happened to. I'm telling you, you can't rely on the world. The kingdom of heaven is inside of us, and we got to find that, and it's right at hand. It's right there. It's the twinkling of an eye. And when you operate from that, and it's perfect love, I got to tell you that. Perfect love is filled with life. It's like you become a kid and your father takes care of you. He keeps you with perfect peace. He provides all your needs. And with your fellow man, you love them. You absolutely love your fellow man by not hating them. That doesn't mean you don't tell the truth, but don't hate. You can't hate. I don't even have to tell you not to hate, because when you enter into the kingdom of heaven within, you can't help but love. I mean, there's no other choice. That's what it's all about. It's love. And it's me loving your wife, loving your husband, loving your enemy. That doesn't mean you let people treat you wrong and don't deal. You understand that, right? But you just don't hate. God doesn't want your worry to be about what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, where you're going to live. He will provide. Believe me, he will. He wants to be an expression of love through you. He's trying to create love through you. That's what life is all about. And then love brings everything, all your need to you. It really will. Believe me, it really will. And see, I'm not like this smart. I'm surprised I know this. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm surprised I know this. When I said the other night that the White House, I renamed the White House the Big Mama's house. Isn't the White House becoming Big Mama house? Be honest. They try to tell you what to eat, and if you don't eat it, they're going to pass a law to make you eat it.
Exactly.
Ain't that Big Mama?
Just a robot.
But what was surprising to me, people said after that, I would never say that. I can't believe you said that. But why would you say it? If you see Big Mama house, why not acknowledge it? And the reason I acknowledge it because I want people to wake up. I want them to wake up. Greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. I promise you that. Greater is he. It's inside of us. Anything that go inside of you will destroy you. But that comes out giveth life. It should be coming out of us, not going inside of us. And I'm a living witness to this thing. It's fun. It's fun, it's fun, it's fun. Now, believe me, lots of hell come at you, but there's a little invisible wall there that hell can no longer enter inside of you. Isn't that amazing? Yes, Jesse, that's really amazing. I didn't get to these notes I wanted to tell you about for my trip. I'll do it next Sunday. We are out of time. I invite you to get a copy of my Be Still and Know CD. We don't charge for it. Just pay for delivering it. And make sure when you pray, be still and know God. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, guys.
For more information or to purchase a copy of this show, visit us on the web at www.bondinfo.org or call 1-800-411-BOND.
You're already home.